Hello, shooters, loaders, and casters. Welcome to the Georgia Shooting Connection Friday night live stream. We've got a special guest tonight. We'll save him and introduce him last because that's what special guests, that's how we hold them in reverence, show our respect. And CW, how was your week?
It was pretty good. I got lots of stuff going on. I stayed busy. We had a couple of bad rainy days, but it was good. I got to clean brass and load some shells, and I cast some bullets. So I stayed busy. I was at the range 3 times. Went fishing once. So it's been a good week. A real good week. Scotsman, how about you? How was your week?
Not too bad. Nice week at work wasn't too bad. Good to be here. Good to see everyone out there. I'm gonna leave my camera off tonight. I'm having some issues with my internet speed, so it seems to be a little bit better when the camera's off. So I'm gonna have to call them this week and try and get my internet speeds back up to par. But good to be here and good to see everyone. Yo, Billy, what about you, man?
Oh, doing good. Doing really good. Hi there. We got a sighting up there. How you doing, girl? Man, we've had rain all day long. I actually am supposed to be on the way to Nebraska for Thunder on the Prairie, but we've had some really bad coyote problems the last few days. And so I've been spending some late nights visiting with them. So anyway, probably what I'm going to do tonight when we get off here at the end. So anyway, other than that, man, life's good. I hate not being in Nebraska right now, but I'm glad I'm here with you guys. So thank you so much for having me. Walter, how you doing this evening, buddy?
Hey, I'm doing great. Like, for an old guy, I could still stand up out of bed in the morning. That how good can that be after that? So anyway, yeah, I got to the range a couple times. Should have only been once, but the first day I went up to shoot a bunch of video, and I left all my video stuff and the chronograph and everything, left at home on the kitchen table. So shot what I had, came back and reloaded all the ammo again and went back up a second day. So, it was all fun, but now I got twice as many guns to go clean. But anyway, so yeah, did that, got a couple videos out and got a whole bunch of new gear. I got stuff in the last 2 days from Amazon and Midway and Monstrum and Inline Fabrication and a bunch of stuff to go in a direction that I don't usually go into. So then the clue was the box from Monstrum. There've been three lately. So.
Oh yeah.
So we're going to be playing musical scopes on some of the rifles that you guys never see, and I'm going to start dragging those out and playing with them. So yeah, been a good week, and I got new toys to play with now this weekend. Mark, how you doing?
Real good. We've had a real nice week, pretty good weather. Kind of the last full week of school, so we had a real nice day today. We call it field day, so we spent the whole day outside playing games, eating food, just having a good time. I haven't made it to the range this week, but I did make a couple of good scores on some neat stuff. I made a short video the other night. I picked up some lead real cheap, a couple of new molds, a few other things, and I didn't show anything last night. I picked up another piece of vintage leather. It's called a Sam Brown belt. Big heavy belt goes around your waist, has a cross strap that goes over your shoulder, and a very unique Buckheimer holster that will take like a Model 10 38 or that bigger Colt revolver. And not only does it have the swivel on it, it's got those old metal hooks that goes into a web belt. So really neat kind of thing. I'm going to use that as my inspiration to do that video. I've been talking about all my collection of vintage holsters and things that I've been picking up over the years. So cool. Been enjoying myself. Looking forward to the evening, sitting down, having a good evening with everybody. And, well, I'm kind of finished. Jamie, do you want to go ahead and introduce Wes?
Okay. Wes is, as we are sitting here this evening, Alabama Reloader and myself are pretty much neighbors. I live in the northwest corner of Georgia, and he lives in northern Alabama. We're not that far apart as the crow flies, and I want to apologize to him for not making the drive over to shake his hand and go shoot with him. And I hope to rectify that situation post haste. So, Alabama Reloader, welcome to the Georgia Shooting Connection.
Yeah, I'm really happy to be here. Thrilled to participate in this evening. I know I've been able to join several streams in the past as somebody, just kind of chatting on the side, but never had the opportunity to actually sit on the panel. So trust me, it's an honor. Believe me, I'm just happy to be here. Most Friday nights are not really good timing wise for me, but I was looking at the calendar and I think I hit up CW and I was like, hey, there's coming a day at the end of May. I know for sure I'll be able to join in. So yeah, just happy to be here. It's been a really good week. Made it to the range earlier today. Got some shooting done on my 30 TC on some 7 rim mag, 270 Winchester, 6.5 Creedmoor. So a lot of good stuff. Wanted to validate some loads. I'm heading to Texas actually next Thursday to do a hog hunt. So really excited for that. But
Yeah, Wes just dropped a video tonight trying to decide on a firearm to use, talking about loads and accuracy and target range, and another good one. So you can check Wes's video out. If you're not a subscriber, go over, check him out, and give him a subscribe. Got some good stuff on there for reloading and shooting. And he absolutely stepped in doo doo with a barrel he just bought, as he spun it on and it actually timed up and headspace properly.
it did.
They were not mated up before, and it was. I told him, you better buy lottery tickets.
Oh yeah, exactly. No, that was a really neat experience, I guess we'll say, because that was the first barrel I'd ever purchased, right? First aftermarket barrel or whatever that I've purchased, and took it to a local gun store. My buddy runs it, and he has a barrel vise, and I was just like, hey, if we can spin this thing off, spin the other one on. If it head spaces, that's great. If not, no big deal. I'll take it to a gunsmith. We'll get it sorted out. No problem. And couldn't believe it. It did. It first of all, we got the Remington 700 barrel off in the first place. It was a 243 barrel. Took it off, 243 Winchester. Took it off. Was shocked we even spun it off to begin with, and then was able to spin that Creedmoor barrel on there, and it did. It timed up perfectly, and it's a really nice shooter. So I have been extremely pleased with that.
Yeah, that's really cool. I saw those groups. That's cool.
And I got the barrel. So it's a Christensen Arms Mesa barrel is the one that I purchased, and I bought it from J&A Outdoors. I don't know if you guys have used them before or heard of them. I think maybe they're based out of Idaho. But the barrel was, I think, a little over $200 for the barrel, and it's 1-in-8 twist, 6.5 Creedmoor, comes with a muzzle brake. It was really nice and threaded on there perfectly, so I can't complain.
Yeah, I remember you opening that up, and the compensator was a surprise and a treat. I mean, those can be a couple $100 sometimes.
Yeah, and that was the thing when I started looking at, okay, I want to go down this path of buying a barrel and sort of getting into that barrel swap mentality. I had never done it before, and just looking at purchasing a barrel and having it, threaded, having the muzzle threaded, and the whole nine, doing all of that stuff. I was like, man, there's not a lot of money in that barrel budget. And I came
Adds up.
Yeah, I came across that place, and I called them up just to make sure. I was like, hey, this is not, some used barrel that maybe somebody turned in and you guys maybe put a different barrel on for them or whatever. They said, oh no, these are brand new from Christensen Arms. They're fired at the factory, test fired at the factory. And then I don't know how they get them, but they get a really good deal on them. And then they pass that along to the consumer. And I'm glad they did. I've been really pleased with it.
Sounds great.
Cool.
Sounds interesting. So, do we want to go ahead and dive into our first topic?
Yeah, let's throw it out there. We can let the side chat get chewing on it a little bit and see what they have.
Hey,
We've talked about stocks before, and it hadn't been really that long ago. But we wanted to get a little bit more in depth about that. And yes, Hillbilly, we're talking about rifle stocks. But if you got some tips for us, lay them on us, man.
He snapped that screen right on right away. I saw.
Yeah, yeah. I know
when
what
he
you're
talked
gonna
about
tell us.
yeah,
Buy
stocks,
low,
like
sell high.
stock market. I got something to say about the stock market every now and then.
I think since you brought that up, and since we naturally fell into that one, we don't talk much about politics around here as a rule, and we will say this and then we'll leave it alone. We are aware that President Trump was convicted of 34 counts yesterday, and I'm kind of wondering where that's going to go, but leave it to him. And he specializes in falling in the outhouse and coming out smelling sweet. So it'll be interesting to see what shakes out from all of that. But how do you feel like that's going to affect the stock market, Hillbilly?
It will, one way or the other. It's hard to say which ones will go which direction, but yeah, it'll definitely affect it, because what's happened now is history. First time a setting president or previous one has been convicted for something like that. So that opens the door now to every president from now on being able to have charges brought up against them if they're in office or after, so.
Well, let's go back about 3 or 4 presidents and start doing some of that. Anyway,
Yeah.
I've got a stock that I want to show off here in a little bit, and as an example of something that probably needs to be replaced. And I know CW knows exactly what that one is, but yeah, we'll get on into that, and here in a few minutes we'll call out the side chat. Can y'all believe May is already over? Tomorrow will be June the 1st.
That's incredible.
Yep.
I tell you what my grandmother used to teach me when I was a boy is true. Life is like a roll of toilet paper. Closer you get to the end, the faster it goes.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if June starts if we'll get June bugs instead of these cicadas.
Say that again.
Now that it's June, I said hopefully we'll start getting some June bugs instead of all these cicadas bugs around here.
Yeah, man. I was somewhere a couple of Saturdays ago, and you could really hear them.
I can open my window right now, and they'd drown this chat out.
Mark, you had something you wanted to say before we brought the topic up?
Yeah. I'm not sure how much streaming this Wes does. Wes, can you see the side chat that's scrolling along?
Let's see. I can if I pull it up and actually look at that. I've just figured out that.
That's what I was wondering, because I know you're doing this on your phone and it's kind of difficult to switch back and forth.
It is.
If a question comes up in the side chat for you, we'll try to get it your way so that you can answer it. I remember the learning curve on this. It was not too long ago that I started doing this, so
that's good. I appreciate it.
In case somebody asks a question and you don't answer back, letting the side chat know he's not looking at it. Some of us are. We got 2 devices going at the same time. He might not. So we'll try to get the question to you, and then you'll be able to answer it.
Yeah, a laptop is still on the list of purchases that I need to make. I do everything on my phone, so all my videos are filmed on my phone. All the editing, which is very minimal. If you watch my videos, you'll see that. Everything is done on my cell phone, so I've got to get a laptop.
A lot of us do the same thing. Everything's filmed on the phone.
Yep.
Yeah, phone works good.
Yeah, mine works well for me. I keep trying to make the GoPros work, and sometimes they want to come out and play, and other times they stab you in the back.
It just seems a lot easier to film, and then you can just go right to the app, hit upload. Yeah, it makes life easier.
Well, the cameras tend to be better on the phone too versus other cameras. So,
So yeah, that was all I wanted to say. Just make sure you got at least some kind of access to the side chat, even if we have to call it out to them.
There's our buddy 76 High Boy reloading.
Jamie, you're
How you
muted.
doing out there, High Boy?
And 6-shooter Texan said he got a new phone. It'll do 8K. Man, I didn't know there was a such thing.
I don't even know what 8K is.
Me either. Last I heard, 4K was like as high as you could go. It was better than 1080p, right? There's a man after my own heart drinking coffee.
Oh yeah, I probably drink. It's probably a very unhealthy amount of coffee, black coffee, every day. But you almost have to keep up with CW, who's posting videos at like 4 a.m. and he's posted 2 more throughout the day, and I can't keep up.
I just posted 2 more for the end of June. I got them all lined up.
I think he's camping out at the range and not telling him.
Oh, speaking of the end of May going into June, so I know I'm going to make an assumption that y'all probably have already run your rainbow flags up the flagpole. I would hope.
I forgot about
rainbow
that.
flags.
Yeah, get ready. It's June 1st. It's here.
No, I think that's Juneteenth.
No, that's Pride Month is June. So get ready.
The whole month.
Yep. Get the whole month. Get ready for all the corporate initiatives and all the advertising. So, yeah, it's always something.
Stars and the Stripes is all that's flying out in front of my house.
Dang, Rollis. Just speed on, brother.
Black coffee with a side of Monster. That's not even fun to say. How can it be any fun to drink that stuff, Ross? That sounds terrible.
No kidding.
Not the burn pole. Yeah. High Boy. Oh, we have a sighting.
There he is. Count us down. Walter.
All right, here we go, boys. On 3, 2, 1. Hey! Hiya, Mario, you West Coast weirdo, you.
Mario.
Wes is like, what in the world? You just got to know Mario.
Mario Mosen is his handle. He lives not too far from me, 100 miles from me or so, over in Bakersfield, California, away. And he's a vet, reloader, shooter, good guy. Except for that pug that he's got, right, Mario?
Pug's better looking than he is.
Well, yeah, that's the point, you know.
Yeah, 6-shooter, I still need to talk to you, man. I'm going to try to call you this weekend. I'll text you first. I still got a couple more weeks before my first full-on match. And we'll get. All right, let me do this. I'm going to just show this side because the other side still has a brand name sticker on it.
This is not a firearm. This is only a plastic stock. This is not a firearm. This cannot shoot, does not shoot.
Oh, there's
Has
no
nothing in it.
trigger. There's no
Nothing.
barrel. There's no action. There's
Just
yeah,
a piece of plastic.
yeah, and I even went so far as to fill up the little holes, the little honeycomb up there with Bondo, and try to make it a little more stiff. But as you can see, as time goes on, that stuff just falls out.
Mm.
And I could have used this, and I could have put some lead in the back, but can you hear? It's obviously hollow, and but I replaced this with a Magpul Hunter stock. But this would be the first sign that you need to get yourself a stock. One thing that they did do well with this is the aluminum pillars here. That's solid, and I'm sure some of y'all already know what stock this is off of, and it's green, so you can probably figure out what model it is. But yeah, that's you get something like that, and I'm not saying uh, all of these kind of stocks are bad, because I have a stock on a Seiko AV it looks like that, but it's not like that. It's solid as a rock, but you're also looking at a $400 rifle as opposed to a $2,000 rifle. So there's that.
What was that? What was that chambered in?
6.5 Creedmoor.
I had one, exact same one in 6 Creedmoor, and I did the same thing. I swapped it to a Magpul Hunter. So that was a really good upgrade for that particular rifle.
I wished I'd have done a little more research before I bought stuff, because it turned out not to work out so great for me, because my rifle was the last of the rotary style magazines, and they don't feed in the Magpul Hunter stock.
Right.
So, but for what its purpose is, which is just a bench rifle, I don't hunt with it. I just shoot long range with it. So, one of the, what is it, ACIS, one of those blocks up in there, and single feed works fine for what I do with it. It's disappointing that Magpul stock didn't work. So, but the Magpul stock works great. It's just that it don't feed from the magazine. I really wanted the magazine to work. There's Edward Petty, y'all.
I saw those single shot sleds, and I almost picked one up, but they were like 40 beans, and Magpul magazine is only 36, so it was cheaper to buy magazines.
No.
AICS or ACIS.
Go on eBay and do a search for it, and there's a couple of guys that'll 3D print one for you for like $14.
Okay, I'll have to look. I will have to look.
Yeah, you can reach out to probably hit up Reloading Quest. I'm sure he'd be happy to 3D print it for you.
Or
Zach could do it, I'm sure.
Or
Papa's
DSCZ 52 will do it for you too, I bet.
Yeah. But I tried it out today. I picked up a Oryx, MDT Oryx chassis for my Howa 6mm, and shot it today. And that magazine just feeds so slick. You almost, a number of times I had to look because you couldn't feel it stripping a bullet. It's that smooth. So it's really nice. That's with a Magpul magazine, not a high dollar Accuracy International. Most of those were 10 rounds, and I didn't like that hanging down. I didn't feel I had a need for all that. And like I say, if the single shot slid I had seen for cheaper, I'd have grabbed it. But cheapest I saw was that Magpul. And after I ordered it, I saw all the warnings that they won't work with Howa actions. Nah, mine worked perfect. I didn't have to do anything. Put it in and it was perfect. So I don't know if they made changes since those videos were made, which is entirely possible. But I saw one guy's fix on how to fix it, and it didn't look too bad, so I wasn't overly worried. Figured I could always do what he did. And
You already got an offer there, Brian.
nice.
I bet we can find the file.
Probably. It's AICS long action. Long
Mine
action.
would be a short action.
Yeah. But I was telling Jamie behind the scenes before we got on here live, and I took it to the range today for the first time, and I had one great big ladder load and one fair sized ladder load. So probably 50 rounds all told. And the second bullet in, it pierced the primer and it blew some debris under my ejector. So for all the rest of those rounds, I had to open and close the gun 2 and 3 times and sometimes push a rod down because the ejector was sprung a little bit. The bolt worked perfect and it fired perfect, but it wouldn't extract cases because it couldn't grab the rim because there was debris under it. It's a AR-15 style extractor in the Howa bolt. So it blasted debris right under the extractor, and it doesn't work so good. It'll be fixed easy. Nothing's broke. At least I don't believe there is. Just got to pull it out, clean it off, put it back in, and it should be fine. But yep, so that was fun. But it shot really well. You'll see in the video. The barrel's not perfectly centered in the channel. I thought I might have had it crooked when I torqued it down, but I took it out and put it back in and checked it all out. You'd think it would sit square on the recoil lug, but it's ever so slightly crooked. But it hasn't. It's not going to touch anywhere. It's probably got a 1/4 inch of clearance everywhere, so it'll never touch. And I shot some. I haven't measured them yet, but I shot a bunch of groups that were under 1/2 inch, so it definitely shoots really good. I was shooting 108 grain match monsters from shooters. Where are they from, Jamie?
Is it Mid-South?
Mid-South, I think. Yeah, they're the only ones that carry them.
Yeah.
Might be Mid-South. Yeah.
Match monsters. Yeah.
Yeah, match monsters.
Let's take a look at this question, and then we'll call out the side chat. We're a little bit late for that. How important is a target stock for a precision rifle? There's some things that these are my requirements. Your mileage may vary. I want a good position on my shoulder, and I want to be able to put my head down behind that scope, and I want my eye to fall right where the eye box is. I don't want to be moving my head forward and back, getting the eye box. And the barrel to me has got to be free floated. Your barrel can't touch the stock. You got to have from the action forward needs to be untouched. And you want a good solid cheek rest. And the first time I shot 1,000 yards was with a gun that had this exact stock on. So yeah, it can be done. It depends on how much you want to do, how much you're going to be doing it, and how comfortable and how confident you want to be while you're doing it. These guys that shoot F class, they have nothing but chassis, and they have custom barrels, custom actions, custom triggers. Everything's built to their exact specifications, and they can sit there and shoot very sub MOA at 1,000 yards out to a mile. Some of them, but those are my minimum requirements. Anybody else want to jump in there?
Well, the stock on your rifle, you go and buy a rifle, pretty much doesn't matter what you buy. It's designed to work for the majority of the people out there. It's kind of like a Chevy pickup truck. It'll do everything you need it to do. It may not be the classiest thing for some, and may be perfect for others, but it's going to cover the broadest section of use of that rifle. As soon as you go into something specialized, you need to get something more specialized. So like Jamie said, a target stock is going to allow you to have a length of pull adjustment, a comb adjustment, and more than likely some kind of a better bedding system and a fully floated, free floated barrel. The majority of these guns are going to have heavy barrels, so a free floated barrel is a big part of it. Something else that's quite popular is the AICS magazines that Fluffy's mentioning here. It's pretty universal. Those Accuracy International magazines, they're really good. They really are really good. Different disciplines require different amounts of capacity. You know, if you're just shooting 1,000 yards, like Jamie's talking about, single shot slid that we mentioned earlier is just fine. If you're shooting like PRS matches or some of these other matches, you're probably going to want some kind of magazine capacity. But it all depends on what you want to do. You know, if you just popping targets or tin cans or whatever, or on your own range, no, you probably don't need a custom stock. If you just want it because it's going to fit you better and feel better, more power to you. Go ahead and do it. If you're going to be competitive, if you really want to be competitive, you need to have these things.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And then if you go and watch somebody like Eric Cortina or F Class John or any of those guys that compete at a high level at long distance, precision shooting, just like what they say, just go copy someone's system. Someone's doing well and they're winning. They're placing very high in every single competition they can, they go shoot. There's a good chance you might want to go just take a look at their stuff and copy paste. Right. And those guys, if it's PRS, then yeah, you're going to be running some type of chassis system. If it's F class, you're going to be having a Macmillan or a Manners or some type of stock. And you need that target stock with a flat fore end, very wide, rides the bags. It depends. Like both of you said so far, if you really want to get into it and you want to be consistently good, or improve to the level where you can kind of take out the unknown or the variability of the stock, then that's what you got to do. You just have to invest the money and go that route. So
I looked all over. I did as much research as I could, and I a little bit handicapped myself because the vast majority of people shooting the kind of disciplines that require these are doing it with a short action. So having a long action like I do was an automatic. Probably 75% of what's available out there isn't available to me because I have a long action.
Right.
There was a couple of really good companies that offered long action setups, but they were over $1,000, and some of them were quite a bit north of $1,000. And I just can't justify that for what I want. So MDT really offered a whole lot of options, and they have a lot of options in the $400 to $600 range. Some of the $500 and $600 options seem like, well, that's only $100 more, but when you start looking at them, that is just the base chassis. That's no grip. That's no stock. you got to add another couple $100 to finish that out to make it shootable. Whereas the Oryx that I decided on is complete, ready to bolt in, nothing else left to buy. It comes with a grip, a buttstock. It's adjustable for comb height, length of pull, and it's got a very gracious float for the barrel for barrel diameters and profiles. So for the price and the fact that I'm a long action Howa, it really was my only option. But it's not like I settled, because it's really nice. It really is really nice. You start watching some of these big guys, like, we're throwing these names around, and they've all got videos on this stock chassis system, and they all have nothing but good things to say about it. So MDT has come out with a couple of new products that are really nice. I'm really impressed with it. They're going head to head with the Magpul style stock, and their field stock is beating it in price. So, and it's got some nice options to it. It's got some nice lines, aluminum bedding. It's got everything going for it, and you're in the $200 range.
Yeah,
so that's nice.
Has anyone purchased one of those? I've looked at those a lot. I probably have one sitting in my cart at Midway USA right now. I haven't pulled the trigger on it. It's because I don't know of anyone that owns one yet. So
I would without worry. The two rifles that I would put them on won't work, so I don't really have a rifle that needs it. That's pretty much the only reason I don't already have one.
Sounds like you need a new rifle then.
Yeah, well, that's going to happen soon too. I'm cruising for a 400 Legend next.
Oh, nice. Looking forward to that.
Yep, I just ordered dies. I just bought a couple boxes of ammo. I'm not going to buy it for a while, probably a month or 3. I'm going to keep buying ammo, get up 100 or 2 pieces of brass, because there is no brass available. It's all loaded ammo. So I've got a couple of people watching for brass. I know Tommy Boy said that he already has found a few pieces, so he's got keeping eyes out for me. And so that'll be the route. And when I get 5, 6, 8 boxes of factory ammo, I will drop the hammer and order a rifle. I gotta decide on what I want. I initially wanted a Gen 2 Ruger American for sure, but like the cartridge in general, there's nothing out there, and they're supposed to have been out, and I don't really want to have the first ones out. There's something going on, and don't know what it is. These were released a year ago. They were supposed to be out for last year's hunting season, and we really didn't see them. Savage has rifles. Mossberg has rifles. Winchester has some rifles, but they're really spotty, and they're the only one making ammo. And Starline says they're not going to make brass. So, it's already starting out kind of stillborn. So,
Right. Yeah, it's kind of behind the 8 ball from the get go.
If I wasn't a bullet caster and a hand loader, 400 is another one. It's kind of a redheaded stepchild. What's out there for bullets? There ain't much. So being a caster, I don't have to worry about that. I got lots of bullets. So, and a cartridge lends itself to cast bullets for what it is. It's a short, medium range hunting caliber, and that's right up the alley for my cast bullets. So 11 10 millimeter. It's basically a big 10 millimeter. I'm really looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to the videos. I'm a huge fan of the 350 Legends, so be very interested in seeing the 400.
Yeah, I'm a 350 guy too. I got mine's an AR platform, and I've already got me a bolt action picked out. I want one of those Savage 110 range hunters, ridge
Trail
hunter, trail hunter, ridge runner, whatever they call
it. It's a good one. I like it a lot. I have one in my hands when I bought that first box of bullets, and I resisted, but it's nice. It's really nice.
It's got It's got iron sights on it. Not many rifles you buy these days have iron sights on there. So let's call out the side chat. Walter, what can we type?
You're muted, buddy.
We're in a hillbilly.
Fun hillbilly.
Stock? He says stock.
Okay, stop.
There we go. I hillbillied out. Sorry.
I read your lips.
Thanks.
All
Wait a
right.
minute. Holy cow! Look at that.
Yeah, they're gone, aren't they? Off the page. But hey, I got a mouse now. I don't need no up arrow.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, I digress. We got Walter Viejos out there, James Pugh's out there, the Scottish Americans out there and on the panel, CW Longshot's on the panel and the side chat. Tommy Boy is out there, Colt 1927, Andre D'Angelo 6-shooter Texan, Trees are blowing. What's up, man? Fluffy 10mm Jeep guy, Edward Petty, Alaska 1 Andy, Hillbilly Up's on the panel. Mock MCK is out there. Rollis Carvelis. Mark Thomas is also on the panel. 3 Jeep Discovery, Tactical FUD, 76 Highboy Reloading, Duffer 426, Big Al's out there. Corners and Doors, Ron 2A Matters, James Pugh, Kyle's out there, and 18 Wheels and a dozen 6-shooters. Welcome. And Yukon 454, Chris Winslet. Walks Fletcher's out there. Bama Dad's out there. Andy 79Z28 is out there. M. Gabriel Walks Fletcher. And Andy's back to his busy. Hope we didn't interrupt anything, brother. And I think that's everybody. Did I say Duffer?
Yep.
426? I did, didn't I? All right. So welcome everybody, and back to the discussion.
So is there going back to the Legend cartridges? Wasn't there something going around about feeding issues in the 350 Legend and some of those models that you mentioned? Some of those manufacturers in the Ruger, Savage. Has anyone reported any feeding issues in the 350 Legend?
I built my AR-15. It will not feed a cast lead bullet.
Oh.
It mangles it up terribly. And I believe it's my barrel, and more precisely, the barrel extension.
Yeah.
But if you got a full length cartridge that, some of our cast bullets would have to seat shorter to get it to chamber in the chamber of the barrel. But my particular barrel extension has A4 feed ramps. They coming up two like that, real sharp, and it's got that like the triangle in the middle. You know what an M4 feed ramps look like. Well, I think later on they started making. They just took that triangle in the middle out and just made a ramp.
Yep. Like the SOCOM had, like the 450 Bushmaster.
Right.
Just one big wide ramp like a pistol.
I never have any feeding issues. I can eat whatever, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, whatever when I shoot. So,
yeah, my Faxon barrel feeds no problem.
I tell you, Hillbilly, if I had the kind of hogs running around in my yard you do in yours, I wouldn't be eating peanut butter and jelly, brother.
Amen to that.
Did you see them things compared to the size of that backhoe bucket? And that's a full size backhoe. That's a 580, K.
I did see that.
It'd take a backhoe to pick one of them dudes up.
I like
you couldn't fit two of them in that bucket.
No, you couldn't.
I like that K5 video you put up, the one you forgot about.
Oh,
yeah.
Big Red.
I like that video. So yeah, that's the problem with Jamie's. He's got an early barrel that has an M4, basically a 223 style feed ramp in it, and it just doesn't like cast bullets.
Tommy Boy says his got M4 feed ramps and it feeds everything.
Yeah,
We built one of the AR pistols that I had some issues with, but that ended up being more brass length. Bullets have been okay, and the Savage Axis that we got in 350, it's been fine, but the magazines are just terrible. That's one of the older ones, and they're flimsy as heck.
Yeah, there was a problem with the AR magazines early on as well, because just like with the 300 Blackout, they don't feed great from 223 mags. You need a modified magazine.
And if you notice between a 300 Blackout and a 223 5.56 Blackout, people say they're the same thing. If you look at the feeds on the inside, they are not. There's a little bit of difference.
Yeah, some of the magazines have actually a rib inside that runs at the shoulder of a 223, and what happens is with the long bullet blackouts, the subsonic stuff, that bullet is larger diameter, and it won't stagger, won't fit between those shoulder bump outs in the 223 magazines, and that's the reason. That's what's different.
If you look at the tip of that feeder down in there, I don't have one next to me, but the 223 5.56, if you look at the ramp that comes up, they'll point out, they'll go straight across and then back. The 223 are at a skinnier point. They go out more of a skinnier point too on that ramp that pushes them up. So
Yeah, there's all kinds of little things with the different calibers, like the 450 and the 458. Those magazines generally you'll find the front of them is not flat. It'll be dipped, and the reason is, especially on the 450, it's a headspace is off the end of the case, so the end of the case was actually biting into the end of the magazine as it fed, and it was causing trouble for some people. So that's why it's rounded. The 458 doesn't headspace there, so it's a little more streamlined, but still it's a big fat bullet, so it feeds better with a slightly redesigned case. And then the Grendel and the 7.62, of course, need a different magazine because they are a severely tapered case, and it's more like a banana. The magazines are more like a banana because they're much fatter at the base than they are at the tip. So to properly feed, you need special magazines. Now you can use like 3 bullets in a 223 mag and a Grendel, and it works fine. But generally speaking, you try and do 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then you get problems. It doesn't work. And it was the same with the Legend. You know, you put 2 or 3 in there, and it would work fine. But you get any more than that, it got all fouled up. But now, you know,
I had really good luck.
Good.
I had really good luck with the Winchester XBR, the bolt action in 350 Legend. That was a really good shooter. So highly recommend that one if anyone's looking for one.
Yeah, that's
the Winchester.
Yeah, the Winchester XPR.
That's the one I think they're chambering in 400 as well, because those are available, but you can't get them. But you see, there's a couple of them out there. You see some people have them. They're just very limited production. I've seen a Mossberg, and I've had this Savage in my hands, and Savage has 2 of them. They've got a 400 in the Axis and a 400 in the 110. So they actually have a couple of 400 Legends available.
So apparently, Artac didn't get his stock in while I was calling the roll. So, hey, Artac, thanks for being here, buddy.
Man, I could see my grandpa's face if he was still alive. If I told him I was going to go buy new stock for a rifle or he had, he'd be, son, is the one you got broken?
I know, right?
Like, why would you want to spend that extra money?
Yeah, but like some of those old fellas didn't put a new stock on an old Mauser.
Exactly.
No, they took the one that came with it and boogered it all to pieces.
That too.
But sporterized the heck out of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My 98 has had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stocks on it.
Oh, yeah.
6 different stocks. One of them I changed right away. I bought it, put it on. I hated it. I took it right off. And then it wore the walnut stock that my grandfather had put on for a while. And it wore that twice in between. And then I got that, I forget who, Archangel stock. And it wore that for a couple of years. And then it's wearing the one that I made, which is, I believe it's an old Fajan blank. And that's probably where it'll stay. It's a pretty nice stock now. Yep, full of stalkers.
I just saw that too. Good one, Gabriel.
So far,
Yeah.
I'm liking this Oryx. It feels good. It's got a nice wide fore end. It sits well on my stand, on my rest rather. A rear bag. I got to get a bag rider for the back. I think I'm going to make one. I haven't seen any that I really like, and I don't want to stick one on the M-lock that's there. I don't trust it. I don't like it. So I'm gonna probably make something. I got in mind what I might do, and I think it'll work out. But that makes it nice. A bag rider in the back helps quite a bit. I got one on my precision rifle that I really like. But it really stable, really solid. When you're shooting it, you can just tell it's, you get in behind it and it's not moving at all. Your heartbeat doesn't make a difference. You're not pulling and tugging on it. It's much better, much more solid than even a bipod, and their bipods are pretty solid. But this is a big 25-pound rest. You'll see it in my videos. I've been using it for a long time, but it works really nice with a nice wide fore end. Really nice and stable. And I shot some groups today that you cover with your pinky finger, and the rifle always shot good, but it didn't shoot that good. So it definitely has made a difference. The chassis definitely made it more accurate.
Tommy Boy's got several bag riders. That's another thing. You need a stock that's going to, if you're doing that style of shooting like Tommy Boy's describing, it needs to be able to slide back and slide back forward.
Yeah, that's what the bag rider does for you. It's a little piece that is 4 to 6 inches long, smooth, round, or flat sided, and it's just made to sit on top of the bag under your butt and of your rifle, and under recoil it slides back and forth. And a big wide fore end is nice because it sits square. You're shooting 50 yards, 100 yards. Rifle doesn't make a huge difference, but as you get out there in yardage, it makes a huge difference. And I'll tell you exactly why. And that is because we're shooting with scopes, optics, and those optics are 1.5 inches to more, 2-3 inches in ARs above the bore. So think about it. When you're not square and you're shooting out there and you're looking up here and the bullet's coming out down here and you're tipped, well, guess what? You just shot to the left. You just shot to the right. Just because you're tipped and canted. So it being square and solid at range makes a huge difference. And that's why you see guys with bubble levels, because they can tell right away if they're level and square. Because it's not practical to have a big wide 2x4 wide flat forend on a rifle you're running around, humping around doing PRS shooting, where you got to run and hump that rifle and throw it up, and you want to be able. You can't shoot that rifle off your shoulder very comfortably, big flat forend, but it's beautiful on a rest. So that's why you see 25-pound rifles shooting bench rest and 10-pound rifles shooting PRS.
Right. And CW and I were texting back and forth earlier that PRS stuff that's a young man's game. I'm too old for that kind of stuff. And too much getting up and down, too much running around. The concept is fabulous. I mean, I would love to. I'd love to go try it. And
I was texting Wes, I don't know, about a year or so ago, 8 months ago. We were talking back and forth about something. I don't know what it was. It was reloads. And I sent him a picture of a box of shells that I had loaded. And he chuckles back, says back to me a big laugh. He says, you loaded those like 3 months before I was born. So yeah, it was funny.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Yeah, PRS. I'm with you there, though. I am a young man by age, but there's a lot of miles.
That's right. It's the mileage. It's the mileage, not the years.
It's the mileage, and I do believe that there is a divorce age exponent, like you age exponentially when you go through a divorce. So I'm only 36, but trust me, I can't grow hair on my head. Believe me,
that's all right. I know all these guys. Our good Lord created very, very few perfect heads. The rest He gave hair.
Exactly. But yeah, that PRS stuff, it is. I'm with you, Jamie. It's a great concept. I mean, it's really interesting. I've never done it, never really had the desire to do it, but you're right about that. It lends itself to a younger crowd, we'll say. A more mobile.
I would love to shoot it, and I will go to them. I'll check them out. I know I could never be competitive. Heck, I shot 3-gun for a bunch of years with my bad knee, and I could never be competitive. I would be in the middle of the pack, but I could never be competitive because I can't run. I can't keep up with the times of running and the changing directions and all that. Yeah, I can shoot. I can shoot better than probably most of them, but I will never be competitive because they're going to blow me away with times. I'm never ever going to do it.
Talking about all that.
So that's all.
About all that getting up and down, man. That reminds me of the first time I went to a Catholic church. By the time I just got down on my knees, everybody's getting back up. And by the time I get back up, everybody get back down. Like, man, I'm behind.
Yep. Well, they warned me, don't kneel. You will never kneel again on that knee. Don't do it. So
you got to run on gasoline like Chad Kelly. That's what you need.
Yeah. Well, there's another one. Young man's game. He's a young feller. He's having fun. It's good to watch his videos. He's having a good time. He's got some fancy equipment too. He's got some all the doodads on there.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do, Colt, is get into cowboy action shooting. And all right, it's time for What's Hot Pot Got. Hot Pot ain't here tonight. Anybody got a particular cartridge they want to say anything about?
Well, we already talked about the 400. That's a new one.
Right.
Yeah.
That's it was introduced 2 years ago and said to be released last year. April. I want to say April. Supposed to be out for hunting season. It's 1.65 inches long case, designed for straight wall. Shoots a 400 diameter bullet. Factory loading is 215 grains at about 2250 advertised. The case derives from the 6.8 SPC, which is basically derived from the 30 or 32 Remington. Basically, because what they did was Let me see. The 10 millimeter is like 420 at the base, I believe, 425, and the 400 is about 440, 435. So it uses the same shell holder as the 10 millimeter. So it's like the 350 Legend. It's a slightly rebated rim, and that's to aid in feeding. Designed for the states that require a straight wall. It's got more energy and good velocity than the 350 or the 450, with more power. Actually, more power than both at range, but it's going to be a dandy on paper. It is a dandy on paper. If they can get them out and get them in the hands of people, I think they'll really like them. If they sell, like we were just saying, it's it almost looks like it's stillborn. I mean, it's not. Winchester isn't a Hornady. They don't know how to hypo cartridge and release a cartridge and make it work.
Amen to that. If they did,
Yeah.
the short mags would be a lot more popular.
Yep. But it's not.
That 7 short mag would be, man.
Remington, you could say the same thing about. Remington's got some good stuff, and they never pushed it, never hyped it. I mean, look what they did with the 280. Look what they did with the 6 millimeter. The 708. Look at 260. You never even heard about that cartridge. It just all of a sudden was there, and it's on paper it's better than the Creed. It does everything the Creed will do plus, but you never even hear about it. The short mags, all the rage of the short mags. Well, Remington released one back in 1966 with the 6.5, and the 350 was right after that, or just before it, and that was the first short mags that we saw. Magnum power in a short action, but it wasn't advertised. It wasn't pushed. It wasn't just released it and hoped on word of mouth that it would take off. And sometimes they do, and most of the time they don't. But it wasn't until Hornady with the need more. And look at what it is. I mean, God bless them. They're it's all over. It's one of the biggest, most common cartridges that never has seen military service. And usually it's military service. It takes military service to make a cartridge, 4570, 3006, 45 Watto. They're all military cartridges, and they're popular because of that.
Well, Jamie, I got a cartridge here I could show.
All right.
See if you guys can guess what this one is here.
Hold on a second.
That's a stuffer. That's a hillbilly
You
stuffer.
packed that one good. You're a little light on the crimp. You need to crimp that some more.
I got a little slim, but that is a 38 special short shucked and a lever action. That's exactly what
That'll do it.
is. Yeah.
Do you have a bullet puller, Hillbilly? You could pull that back out to the correct COAL, and then you could go and shoot it.
Yeah, I got a vice and some vice grips, so a hammer.
Get yourself a kinetic bullet puller.
Yeah.
A couple of taps on a concrete floor or a block of wood, and that bullet will come right out of there. If you're nice and careful, you can make it to the proper lengths without getting it out of the case.
I have a cast iron weight that I use to use mine on. And I know one day I'll break it, but it just works better than anything else.
I had a block of wood for the longest time. I hit it on a 4x4, about 16 inches long, and I would hit it right on the end grain, and that worked. That worked really good.
Do any of y'all remember Country Boy Prepper?
Yeah.
Well, he did a video one time where one of the local ammo supply stores, like, they reloaded cartridges and put them back out on the market. And they messed up a batch, and he got this big old huge bucket of them things. I think he had like 3 5-gallon buckets, and he had to demill them before, and then he could use the components. He was sitting there talking, and he was shucking these things. I mean, he had an anvil. I mean, literally an anvil sitting out there, and he would take and just whip his wrist, pop that thing one time, and that powder and bullet. Rarely did he have to hit twice. And some of the times I'm sitting in here trying to take one apart, and I'm like, and it
Got a little
ain't.
aggressive on your crimp, did you?
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. There's guns and water.
Yeah. Hey, guns.
When they set railroad tracks, they put them down. Sometimes there's a foot or so on the end that needs to be cut off. And I have 2 pieces of that. One I gave my dad. It's probably still at his old place. And I have one down in the garage. And let's say it's about 1 foot. That thing is heavy as heck. But I put that out on the floor and I just whack it maybe twice. And they pop right out.
And that's why I use a weight. And it's not that heavy, but it's still that hard. And yeah, Walk says he's broke 2 of those RCBS hammers. Mine's a Lyman, and it's still the first one I bought. But sometimes when I'm beating that weight trying to get bullets out of there, I'm like, dude, this thing ain't going to last long. But it
Yeah.
always does.
I've got one. My Lyman one, the handle came loose and I need to epoxy it. In the meantime, I bought another one, and I think it's Frankfurt Arsenal. The first time I used it, I had to pull a 9mm bullet, and there's like little fingers sort of down at the bottom end of the chamber, and that bullet wedged itself down there, and then you can't get it out. It stays in there. So it just lives there as a lead cushion for the other bullets that come down. It's actually not a bad idea because it pre-weights the whole hammer.
6-year Texan, my Lyman's probably 10 years old at this point, maybe 12.
I've seen those, Bama, but I've never tried one. I've got a couple of hammers, but I really only use the hammers once in a great while. I prefer to pull with a collet. The only thing you have to use the hammers for is powder coated bullets, because
collets won't grab them.
You can't grip them; they're too slick.
I stuffed the cotton ball down into.
Yeah, you can use a cotton ball. You can use one of them packing peanuts. You can use
spongy earplug things.
Earplug,
I've used those before.
Yep. Those earplugs are great. You can shoot those things. You can use them in your bullet puller. You can do all kinds of things with them. Earplugs. They really do. They make good bullets for the basement.
Sorry, Scotsman.
Sorry, I'm having internet connection issues. My speed's real low, so I'm sorry if I step over someone. I'm not trying to. I was just gonna say that Frankfurt Arsenal puller he's talking about. I've heard nothing but bad things about it. Absolutely horrible. Reviews are terrible on it. Probably one of the worst things Frankfurt Arsenal ever came out with.
You know, there's no middle ground with them Scotsmen. It's either a great concept and it works great, or it just don't work at all.
Agreed. Like their stuck case remover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely 100%. They make some excellent products, but then they got some that just are the worst thing you could ever think of.
Yeah. They're little powder tricklers, one of the best ones I've ever used. They got a good powder trickler.
I like the weight on it. It's real heavy.
Mm-hmm.
That reminds us of another reloading company, basically Red. They have some great ideas. Sometimes they execute well, sometimes they don't.
Most of the time, you're going to be the test subject.
Yep.
Absolutely. Good night, Andy. Make it a
Good night,
great
Andy.
weekend, buddy. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah,
No,
Paul, the M press didn't really take off. But they have that newer one now. They got that 10-stage press, progressive press. But I've seen a lot of issues with it too.
what's the M press?
That's Frankfurt Arsenal's.
Similar to that not
Forster
Forester.
Yeah.
Forster coax.
It's the overhand pull. It has the two jaws that come together to hold the shell. And you don't have to have a whole bunch of shell plates. Really, it makes it easier for that. Mainly meant for rifle, but you can use it for other calibers too. I got rid of mine, and the only reason I got rid of mine was I didn't like the ram. The ram was real loose, so I wasn't too impressed with the ram.
I had two of them. I liked it, but I had to rebuild the first one. Just a poor design, but I made it better. It worked a lot better. But then I got that mech, and I haven't even looked back. I don't use much anything else but that mech.
Same
I
here.
love that thing.
Okay, that's coming back to me. I'm starting to remember.
Yeah, and you can, I mean, just like somebody pointed out, Frankfurt Arsenal, I do appreciate their innovation, I guess, if you will, if you can go that route. What they're trying to bring to the market. Now, of course, you're buying their stuff's coming from China, right? There's no way they can make a Forster coax knockoff you can find those. I mean, I've seen them, relatively cheap. You're talking $150, cheaper than that sometimes when they go on sale. And a Forster coax, you're not going to pay less than what, $300?
Yeah.
For those, if you can ever find one. So for what they bring to the market, that it is nice, but yeah, it's either a home run or they strike out miserably. One of the two.
And I still say, I know it'll never happen, but I still say that if these companies, RCBS, Redding, Dillon, any and all of them, if you want to secure your future in the marketplace, you better make somebody start making some primers.
Oh, speaking of primers, I bought 5,000 today. So
I bought 6,000 on May the 20th, and they're still not here yet.
I got lucky. I just walked in the store and bought them.
That's the way you do it.
Most definitely.
If you can.
I saw the Servicios Aventuras on Powder Valley today for like $55.
Say that again, please.
The Argentinian ones, the Servicio Aventuras primers, the small pistol primers were $55 at Powder Valley today. They had some kind of sale going. I went through a brick of those with no problems. I never bought any more because I don't need any more. But
I think the issue with those ones, Walter, because I've had some issues with them, and I've seen other people have issues with them too. But I noticed when I ran them in by hand, that they didn't go off very well. but when I ran them on the Dillon, every one of them went off just fine. So to me, I think it's a seat and depth issue.
Yeah, like I said, I never had any trouble with them. They all ran for me, but
I see, Bama Dad had a question out there.
oh yeah, they must be just bridging in that little passageway down through the ram.
Yeah, that's all I can think of.
Yeah,
Your hole's
get
clogged
yourself
up.
get yourself a piece of trimmer string and run it down through there and clear it out. I don't deprime on that press anyway. I don't like getting it that dirty, but I got a little dirty press that I deprime everything on. But
Those little Lee C presses are excellent for that.
that's what I use.
Yep, decapping.
And they're not as cheap as they once were. I think the first one I bought, I think I paid like $30 for that thing. They're double that now.
We used to give them away with a set of dies.
Right.
Yeah,
We got a couple of them for free.
Yeah.
Back when the hand press was like $15.
So I got
there's
for
60 or
y'all.
70 now for that hand press.
Yeah, crazy. I just bought a new one because of that 22 die. I wanted to put a 22 die in it. Hello, Tim.
Apparently he's had a nap.
Yep, testing his eyelids for cracks.
His eyelids don't have any holes in them. That's
Welcome back to the world, Tim.
welcome to the jungle. Back to the topic. Stocks for a minute. I know CW and Walter both have those Ruger precision rimfires. Would y'all consider that a stock or a chassis? I think I would consider, no more than I've seen it. I've not had one in my hand, but it looks more like a chassis than a stock to me.
Yeah, they call it a chassis. Yeah, they call it a chassis. It's plastic.
Mm-hmm.
It's plastic?
It's plastic. Metal fore end. The metal tube in the front is metal, but the part that goes around your action of your gun is plastic. The rails, the receiver is steel, but the receiver sets down into a plastic chassis. The butt is plastic. Very rigid.
Yep.
It's fine, but it's plastic.
Foam is plastic. You know, all that stuff is. I guess it helps keep it a little bit lighter but why do you really care for that rifle? For it to be exceptionally light, you're not going to carry it.
Yep. Yeah, weight is a benefit for that. There's a company out there making one. I got a Guns and Ammo does a rimfire magazine at least once a year, and the most recent one, or the previous one, the last one they did, was all about the Ruger Precision. And there's a company that's making a new chassis that you can use that's metal, but the darn thing is as expensive as the gun. It's like $500.
Yeah,
400 something bucks. And it what's it really going to do for you? It looks identical to the factory. It doesn't even look snazzy or nothing. It's
right.
I guess it has colors. You can get fancy colors, but if I was going to invest money, I would just change the barrel.
That low press is great for depriming, decapping, whatever you want to call it, by my dad. But whatever you do, don't try to use that thing to size bullets, because you will break it.
I've used mine occasionally to size and haven't had a problem. But
yeah, that rascal right there went and spent some money today. Hey, New Tex, I can.
Well, we'll see tomorrow what you got.
I've already seen it. It's white.
Yeah, he already sent me a picture of it.
I know what he got. My buddy had one of those. It was a good vehicle. I was going to tell him that. He drove it for 4 or 5 years. It was a good vehicle. And I got another buddy who's got the pickup truck version, and that's been great for him. He loves it. I don't think it'd be a heavy duty pickup, but for the average, homeowner doesn't do much with it. I think it's great.
I thought maybe you bought a Prius for a minute.
A Prius can be very tactical. Just ask Big Al.
Yeah, or Val. Val's got one. Tactical Prius.
So, Mark, have you changed any stocks out on any of your stuff, or?
No, I kind of came into this evening with not a whole lot of experience in this. I mean, the only thing, and I'd mentioned this to Walter in his video, when I bought my Ruger 1022, it came with a synthetic stock, and they tried to give me one of those Archangel stocks with it, and I told them I didn't want it; they could keep it. But when I was out at a gun show, I bought a regular wooden stock for the 1022. It gets switched back now and then. I kind of like to put that wood stock on it when I'm taking it to the range. The synthetic stock is pretty much when we take it hunting, just makes it a little bit lighter and makes it a little bit more weatherproof. But that's really the only thing I've changed back and forth. Everything I've got's pretty old and doesn't get changed out or already came with some sort of synthetic stock.
Yeah, well, when I think of changing stocks out, I think of getting rid of the synthetic and getting something that's either wood or a chassis.
I did get really tempted last week. I found a nice Winchester Model 88 that somebody had put a real nice custom stock on, but it got banged up. And I almost bought that to kind of rework the stock and make it nice again, but I didn't. It didn't have a magazine, and those things are hard to come by and expensive. So I passed on it.
Yep.
There's our brother over in Mississippi, R4 Mississippi Thunder. We need to ride over and see him too one of these days.
Yeah, I'm pretty similar though on the changing of the stocks to Mark. I've actually only swapped out I think 2 stocks ever. Just in my mind, the way I think about it is if I'm going to spend the money on an aftermarket stock, I could probably put a little bit more money with it and just go buy another gun. And so that's sort of the roadblock that I have every time. I have swapped out a Howa. It was on a Howa 1500. It was a bull barrel 308. I believe I did a couple of videos on it, and I did put the Archangel stock on there. It was more of a test just because it was probably one of the cheapest aftermarket stocks that you could go buy. And it has their own proprietary magazine and everything. So it wasn't necessarily the best, but it was okay for the price, right? It was probably a C grade, right? It got the job done. There was some issues with alignment and fitment in terms of the barrel channel, but it was kind of to be expected. I didn't really have high expectations for that stock. And then, so I went from that experience to here recently, actually met up with the guy that owns AG Composites. They make carbon fiber stocks. Well, their facility is maybe 5 miles from my house. And so I actually met up with him and kind of got talking and everything. And he got my number and we started texting back and forth. And then next thing, he's like, hey, why don't you come down? I can show you the facility, show you how we make our carbon fiber stocks. And if you have a Remington 700 footprint firearm, he was like, I'll just make you one. And I was like, okay, well, now we're moving a little too fast here because this is AG Composites. You go from Archangel, which is the, dirt cheap aftermarket stock. You go to an AG Composites, which is like the most expensive carbon fiber stock you can buy. And I was just like, hold on now, I don't want anything for free. Definitely not, I'm not just trying to become buddies with you so I can get something out of this. I was like, I don't mind paying you, but we're going to set up a payment plan for this stock. And but he was nice about it. He's like, no, it's on us. He's like, don't worry. So that was a really neat experience to go and tour their facility and just see the level of manual labor that goes into. I've worked in manufacturing. That's my career. I'm a manufacturing engineer, so I've been around it for a long time. But to see the level of craftsmanship, I mean, true craftsmanship that goes into what they produce, it was incredible. I mean, I can't remember how many steps in the process he was telling me that it takes to actually produce a stock, and like only 2 or 3 of them are automated. Everything else is literally someone physically, molding the stock, actually fitting the stock to the action. It is a work of art when you get it. So I can speak highly of those. Now I did get it for free, so I'm a little biased, but it is a really nice stock. And they've actually just started recently. They started offering fiberglass stocks. That was something else he wanted to talk to me about, was them trying to enter in at a lower price point, because I believe their cheapest carbon fiber started at like almost $600. That's a chunk of change. And so they wanted to come in and start offering a fiberglass option at a cheaper price point, to get people into that. So, but yeah, it's a really nice stock. Again, it's just hard for me to justify, spending that kind of money. I probably wouldn't have if he wouldn't have been so gracious and given it to me. I probably wouldn't have bought it. So
That's always cool.
Yeah, I bought a few Boyd stocks. I had a Bishop stock back in the day, laminate. That was my first laminate stock I bought, and then went to buy another one, and you couldn't get them. And that's about the time Boyd's came to be, and we bought a Boyd stock, and they were pretty good. And I think I've got 3 or 4 of them, and I've gotten stinkers, and I learned that I won't buy any of the new. I forgot what they're called now. Really square, blocky designs that they make. I stick with their traditional stuff, and it's been good. The it's on the tip of my tongue. I can't think of the name of the.
it's not the @1, is it?
Yeah, the at ones.
Okay,
Those are the ones that were not. I didn't like them. I bought 2 of them, and one of them I sent back, and they sent me another one, and it was just as bad as the first one. So they've gone not great. Even that last one that I bought, because I'm handy, I was able to make it be fine. But it's got the cutter, whatever, when they cut the stock, it chewed on the butt a little bit. It made a big gouge, and there was a knot there, and it was bad. It should have been a second. It should have never, my opinion, should have never gone out and been shipped to a customer. It just shouldn't have happened. It was just a bad piece of wood, and the cutters grabbed it, a knot, and it just chewed on it. And I filed it and sanded it and recoated it, and because it's white and brown, it just disappears. You don't notice it, and it's not in a spot you run your hand over, so I can live with it. But it should have never left. But the inletting was good. Everything fit good. You've seen the videos. The rifle shoots great. It feels good in your hands. So I'm happy with it. But they've also gone up probably 25% the past couple of years. But what hasn't?
Right.
25%. That's good. If it's only gone up that.
Yeah.
So y'all probably seen Mark's video, Mark MCK's video. He's got a Boyd's spike cam, I think is what it is.
Yeah.
And he's had to do some inletting and chisel, sanding, filing, and all that kind of stuff. I just don't want to do that if I can get out of it. But yeah, I've my best experience changing a stock. Really, the only experience I've had is with that Magpul Hunter stock, and
They're wonderful.
they are wonderful.
They're wonderful.
for the money. Yeah, they're. But let's be real though, man. You put another 100 and a quarter with that, and you can
Get a
buy
new
one of
gun.
those chassis
Yeah, you can.
or a new gun.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
the thing with the bike stock is you got to pay attention, especially when you're on the website and you go to buy one. It will tell you some hand fitting may be required.
Yeah.
So you may have to do a little bit of work. I picked one up for the Thompson Center 6.5 Creedmoor 2 years ago, I think it was. And I had to do a little bit of work to get it for the magazine well. The actual rifle fit in the stock pretty well. Didn't have too many issues getting it set in there. It was just the magazine well itself. The magazine did not want to go in. So I had to do a little bit of filing and sanding, but nothing too out of the craziness. And it works good.
Prairie Hunter is one that's been very good. I've got 2 of those. I like them a lot. That's what I would recommend. The Classic, I think, is another one that's very good. But it's their line that have been around for a long time, and they've got it down, and it's right. It works really good. You probably all saw my video on the A22 Magnum, where I had to redo the magazine well because it was basically it was machined wrong, and it had a little plastic nub that was supposed to hold the magazine, and it just was not. It shouldn't be. I made it out of metal in about 10 minutes, and that's the way it should be. It's a piece of aluminum, and that's what the factory should do. They shouldn't make that in plastic. But probably, it's a few cents cheaper, and you sell 1 million of them, and a few cents is a lot of money. So
Yeah.
that's probably how it came to be. But I got it fixed, and it works beautiful.
Cool. So we're overdue for our verse of the week, and we want to get back on track with our Sermon on the Mount thing. And we probably got an announcement to make at the end of the after this. Remind me, CW, about what we're going to do the next few weeks about our topics. So y'all remember we've been going through. Last week we did more of a Memorial Day type verse. So we're back to our Sermon on the Mount, and again, this is Jesus talking, and basically he's interpreting the law and the prophets for the people that are there to listen to him. Matthew chapter 6, starting in verse 26, we see, "Look at the birds of the air, for they neither sow nor reap nor gather in barns, yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not of more value than they?" And verse 27, "Which of you by worry can add 1 cubit to his stature?" So what we're seeing here, we remember we've been talking about you can't serve 2 masters, for you hate one, love the other, or you'll be loyal to one and despise the other. And don't worry about about your life, what you will eat or what you will drink, nor about your body, what you'll put on. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothing? And here Jesus is building on that when he says, "Look at the birds of the air. They don't sow or reap or gather into barns, yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not of more value than they?" So, what it's about, we got to trust God, and it's a matter of our heart, as we've been saying over and over. So, God provides for the birds, and He takes care of them. Therefore, we expect that God would take care of us. The birds don't worry, but they do work. Birds don't just sit around with their mouth open expecting God to fill their mouths. One commentator named Carson says, this argument presupposed a biblical cosmology without which faith makes no sense. God is so sovereign over the universe that even the feeding of a wren falls within his concern. He's concerned about all of his creation, and he takes care of it. And I'll get to more on that in a minute. So, are you not of more value than they? The worry many people have over material things in life is rooted in a low understanding of their value before God. So when you're worrying about, like, say, your job, getting laid off at work, or getting the bills paid and all that stuff, you're worrying about stuff and you're not trusting God the way we should. And we all do it, me especially. We sometimes, when we're worrying about things like that, we're losing track of just exactly how much God loves us and cares for us. And then that next verse there, let me pop that up. So which of you, this one is confusing to me. Which of you by worry can add 1 cubit to his stature? Okay, so he's still talking about worry here and how we lose track of how much God loves us in our day-to-day life. All right, so when you say, if you've studied the Old Testament, you know what a cubit is. A cubit is the length from a man's, the right there inside his elbow to the tip of his finger. And that's typically 18 inches, a foot and a half. A foot and a half is a lot to be added to how tall you are. Think about it. I'm 5'8". If I added 18 inches, I would be what, almost 7 foot tall? And I'm a short guy, but I'm telling you, I think if you really did some study, what you'd find out, if you went back to the Greek, what you would see here is not really add a cubit to his stature or to your height. It's more like, how can you add anything to the length of your life by worrying? Because, and I think right here, what Jesus is really telling us here is that worrying about stuff is not going to add to your life. It's going to shorten your life. Because number one, you're creating stress within yourself about stuff that you need to trust him for. And plus the fact that stress is going to cause you high blood pressure, heart trouble. It's going to make you not eat right. It's going to make you not sleep right. Just breathe, be still, and know that I am God. And that's what I got for tonight. Anybody else got any comments about that?
You're spot on with that. I mean, that's something that you have to focus on that, because just like you mentioned, paying the bills, right? Those bills never stop. They continue to show up month after month. And if you don't pay them, boy, they'll let you know it, right? And then that stress builds, especially when you got kids. I mean, we got 3 kids, and so it's always something. You never seem like it never seems like there's extra or enough to make you feel comfortable. But then that's the moment where you take a step back and you go, oh my Lord, how blessed are we? Right. I mean, you got up this morning, like I had a severe back issue over Memorial Day weekend, to the point where my left leg was going numb if I sat, longer than 10 minutes. I was really struggling over the weekend, and thankfully I was able to go get that sorted out by having 6 needles jabbed in my back on Tuesday. But doing that, it's like, man, after now 2 days later, my back feels great. I'm like, man, that's the stuff you take for granted. It's like, man, I should be so thankful every day that I'm able to get up, open my eyes, breath in my lungs. Man, praise God that I can do that. And I think that's when you start to approach life from that mindset of more thankfulness and gratitude. it continues to build faith. In my experience, it builds faith, and the provision shows up where and that's the part where you can't convince me that God isn't real, because I've seen him show up time and time and time and time and time again, where it's not coincidence. It's not Mars in retrograde, Venus lining up, this, that, and the other. It's none of that. It's just amazing to see him move and work in situations where sometimes it feels hopeless. It definitely does. And then all of a sudden there he is, and he's in that moment. And then you go, man, it's almost, at least I know I do it. It's like, man, God, do you really care? I mean, you've got so much to care about, right? It's like, you care about me. You care about what goes on in my day-to-day life. Sometimes I think that's hard for us to kind of wrap our minds around, right?
Yeah, you think Google's listening? You think Google's listening to you? You think Siri's listening to you? You think Alexa's listening to you? Try Jesus.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Amen.
Yeah, exactly. It's just so it's amazing, and it is. It's a faith building experience, right? When you go through something like that, and then he just continues to show up time and time again, it just renews your faith, and it's awesome stuff.
Let me jump in right here for a second. Hi, boy. That you reminded me of what I was going to go back and talk about when I was doing the verses. See, Noah didn't worry about the ark. Through obedience, he built the ark, and while he was doing it, he preached to everybody that came by, and he entered it and he closed the door. God provided. That was the faith Noah had. I just got one question. While Noah was in that ark, and there were 2 mosquitoes in there, why didn't he slap them?
Yeah, when he had the chance, huh?
Well, yeah, while he had the chance.
Well, I guarantee them chiggers was in his socks during the trip.
Yeah, them and pigs. Yeah.
Yeah, he had to keep telling the rabbits, only 2, only 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I challenge. I would challenge everybody watching tonight, and I appreciate Wes's heart.
Yep.
On that.
Walter, they may have been eating rabbit the entire trip, buddy. They just ended up at the end.
God provides,
Yeah. I'd like to say something too, Jamie. What you guys have already said has been spot on. I just want to tell somebody. I mean, I just feel like I just want to share this. The way Jamie explained earlier and stuff about, the birds, they don't just sit in their nest, they, and food's brought to them. They fly around, they find the worm's provided for them, they work and stuff, to get that, but they are provided for. And, as you're struggling along from day to day, especially some of the younger folks out there married, maybe have kids and stuff, a lot of us has been through that struggle. It's like, well, it's bologna sandwiches again because we need diapers and formula or whatever the case might be, but I just want to tell you, as you're praying, you're believing, you're having faith. Faith is something that you cannot see, because if you had faith, like something was sitting right across the room from you, and you had to just get up, walk over, and grab it. That's not an example of faith. It's something that, like, you're believing in that you actually physically cannot see. You're trusting and all that. And one thing I gotta say, this is like very important. Something that I've learned: God's timing is always perfect. It's not the timing that you want it or choose. You're like, oh my gosh, if I don't, get this in or do this or whatever by Friday, I'm screwed, it's not as you want it. His timing is always perfect. When you're faithful, you're working hard and everything, it will come. And if you notice about the timing, it's like, wow, that was perfect timing. Not when I wanted it, but it was there and it's perfect timing. I've experienced this time after time in my life, and his timing's always perfect. It just don't line up with what we want sometimes.
Yeah, no, agreed, 100%, and that's confirmation because I was hearing something earlier on the radio. I did this a few years back where I've literally got all my radio presets, all 6 of them, I think it is, in the vehicle. They're all set to a Christian radio station, and that's just what I listen to all the time when I'm driving around. And that was on one of the channels. That's exactly what they were talking about. They said, they were like, we just want to remind you, God is never late. He's never late. So his timing, to your point, is perfect, and it cannot fail, and he will not fail, and he can't contradict himself. It is incredible when you go through life and you start to release a little bit of that, because you want to control it. You want to control the situation. You want to control the outcome. You want to control the inputs and the variables. And there's so many times, practically all the time, we have no control over what's going on around us. But yet the part we can control is that releasing of faith, right? It's like, you know what? I have no clue how this is going to work out. I have no idea how we're going to pay for XYZ. I just know that we need it for whatever reason, and we're releasing faith, and it'll be provided for when we need it on God's time, right? So it's incredible. Going through those experiences and seeing that stuff manifest, it's again, you can't convince me otherwise. You won't do it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And that was.
I want to share something really quick, and what you said, it's awesome. That is a little bit of confirmation for you, brother. I appreciate that's great, man. Glory to God. But my wife always reminds me when I had my excavating company, I wanted to buy this dump truck, and it's a little out of my price range. I knew there's a few things wrong with it, but it looked really nice. It had dual straight exhaust on it. It sounded really nice, but I just didn't quite feel the comfortable deal about it. And anyway, I was crawling underneath it and I was looking at the beams, it had walking beam suspension. I was looking at it, and this red wasp flew down and stung me right between the eyes. And I told the guy, I'm like, I gotta go get some Benadryl. I'll be back, or I'll get a hold of you, And man, I swelled up and everything. And so when my wife got home, I had like an ice pack on my forehead and stuff. She goes, I told you not to buy that dump truck, did you? And I'm like, no. And I found out later on because somebody I knew did buy it, and it was a lemon. So, it's like you learn, I'm not saying the Lord's going to sting you by a wasp, but it's like there's things that happen through your life. Just keep your eyes open and watch, and they're actually wonderful.
Oh yeah, you see his presence is all around you if you will just acknowledge it. I think that's the part that you've got to be willing to open your eyes to it. Because I know there's a video that I posted on my channel. If you don't go watch anything else on my channel, there's a video that I posted about a year ago, and I got to participate in my stepdaughter's baptism, and you don't have to go watch any of my other videos, but go watch that video because I give a little bit of a testimony on that one, and it's incredible. Again, you look around, and that's what I try to tell people, the young folks in church. And I'm like, man, back to the worrying part. You guys worry so much. There's so much anxiety and depression, and you're constantly worried about things that don't even exist, things that you're only thinking up in your mind, and you won't even stop to look around and just acknowledge at how awesome God is. So
Read my mind, Mike.
Well, I always say there's two places you never find atheists, and that's in foxholes and tree stands. You can't be in the woods and watch God's creation come alive in the morning and believe that there's not a God. And I'll tell you something else too. It takes more faith to be an atheist than it does to be a Christian. You got to really want there not to be a God for you to believe there's not one.
No kidding. But all of this is just happenstance. Yeah, you've really, that's some serious faith.
Right.
If you believe that we're just some collection of cosmic ooze and we just happen to, get here somehow, that that takes some serious faith on your part.
So we got to get through the room. We got to clear the deck for Gizzard Gary coming up here at 10 o'clock or a little after. And this is my challenge to everybody that's still watching is look back at your life and think about when you were at the end of your rope and you didn't know what was going to happen. Obviously, you got through it because you're still here. But look at your life and see when God took over. Because if you look hard enough and you think about it, you'll see it. And we always let Hillbilly go first. There's Mr. Pollard. Hey, buddy.
Hey,
We
James.
always let Hillbilly go first so he can get over there and help Gizzard Gary turn knobs and poke buttons and stuff. So thanks for being here, Hillbilly.
Well, thank you. Gizzard will not be having a show tonight. He is at Thunder on the Prairie in Nebraska with a lot of other.
Well,
YouTube
never mind. Let's talk
creators
about
and
Jesus for another hour.
Yeah,
There
I
we
mean,
go.
so yeah, but yeah, they Thunder on the Prairie, and if you're actually close by up in there, you can still like get in there and visit tomorrow and the next day. I was supposed to be going, but I had a coyote problem around here, and I've been having to attend to, so I did not get to go. But yeah, so we wouldn't have had a guns bearing therapy tomorrow night, but now that I'm here, we will have guns bearing therapy tomorrow night, Saturday, 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Eastern. If you guys ain't doing anything, come by and visit us. We try to have a really good time. I got lots of videos to put out. Oh man, got a new rifle today from Bear Creek Armory. Really excited about testing that out. And I got 3 scopes sitting here beside me that I got to test out. One of them is actually going to go on a 12 gauge, and this is going to be interesting. It's like doing testing to see if it holds up good. It's a 3x9 variable, and kind of what they're wanting to test out is some of the people that's in the straight wall jacket states that do hunt deer with 12 gauge slugs. So they're wanting to know if that will hold up. And I believe Mark Thomas is covering the other side with a muzzle loader. So hopefully their scope holds up and it's a good scope because I think it'd be good for both. I've not got to test mine yet. I don't know about Mark yet, but hopefully, it'll be a good, reasonable scope for the price. And anyway, just excited to be here. Love starting off my weekend with Georgia Shooting Connection, the panel, the side chat. You guys are all just awesome. I love each and every one of you. And, I just thank you so much, Jamie, also for always, sticking to the verse of the week. It touches a lot of people. I know it does me, buddy. So thank you very much.
Thank you, and thanks for being here, buddy. Looking forward to guns bearing therapy tomorrow night. Who wants to go next?
Well, since I was mentioned, I'll go next. Been great to be here this evening. Thanks for everybody. Thanks for the side chat. You guys been rock and rolling. yes, I did get a scope in from Discovery, and a little bit of difficulty trying to find some bases to put on that muzzle loader. That's the other end of the test was a muzzle loader, and I've got one that's kind of unique. My son and I built this tactical percussion muzzle loader. It's a 50 caliber octagon barrel, and you have to see it. And the only bases I seem to be able to find are on the inline round barrel. So I'm going to try a set of 2 bases on that octagon. I got those the other day, and we'll maybe try to hook those up tomorrow night and see how they work, and at least get the scope mounted. I'm not too worried about being super accurate. I just want to put it through the paces and give it a few impacts of recoil, see how it holds up. But other than that, I do have one more video planned, a bunch of vintage holsters, a bunch of things that I've collected over the years, and now we'll see what else I get to do. I got a bunch of new molds to get some bullets made, test those out. So that's the plans for the future. I guess I'll pass it on to Viejo.
Okay, well, yeah, I'll pull a little audio here for you. I'm not muted this time. Well, thank you as always, Jamie, for the invitation to be here and participate. And it's always a good time for me, as you know, to be here on Friday night and hang out with all you folks and everybody over here in the side chat as well. We've said it before; it's a big family here, and I consider every one of you brothers and sisters over there. As far as what we got going at Casa de Viejo, we got a Free the Few episode number 34 or 5, I think, went up on Rumble today, and Monday will be the next piece of that 45 ACP 230 grain round nose shootout that I've been doing, and we're getting down to the brass tacks on that series. We got a couple other projects in the works here that we're going to get going on. I need to do a little bit more with that Lee bullet feeder thing. I've been struggling with that a little bit, but it does work on the APP for you can size your bullets right into that thing and then go stick it on the press and go to town with it. That's the only way you're going to save any time with that. But anyway, I got to finish that video up this weekend. It'll probably be Tuesday, Wednesday for it hits the streets next week. So that's kind of what we're going on. I got some scope work to do with half a dozen rifles or so, and they're all getting rescoped one way or the other. Some are getting hand-me-downs, but I'm used to that, you know. So that's what we got going on around here. Scotsman, you ready to wrap a little bit there? What do you got going on, brother?
Sure, absolutely. First off, appreciate being here as always. Always good to be here. Hillbilly said it, and Walter always says it. Man, this is the start to the weekend, so always good to be here and good to see everyone out there in the side chat because you guys make this happen. So thank you to everyone out there. As far as what I've got coming up, I got yard work all weekend. I got to get the yard taken care of. But with that being said, that means I should be able to get out there and do some shooting videos for you guys. So we'll hopefully get some videos coming up this week. I got to get my internet fixed because my internet's having all kinds of problems. But once I get that taken care of, the videos should resume. So looking forward to getting out there and doing some shooting, and looking forward to seeing you guys tomorrow night on Hillbilly Up.
Very good. Thank you so much. So, Wes, thank you for being here this evening. Thank you for joining us. You're a pleasure to be around and a credit to your mama and daddy. And
I'll pass that along. I'm sure they'd appreciate it.
we hope you'll come back as often as you can. And thanks to Brian for setting this up. And like I said, I apologize for us being so close and me not be riding over to see you. And I want to rectify that situation as soon as possible.
Oh yeah. We need to plan something for sure.
we will do that definitely before summer's over with. And I know you're there's KFW. I know you got kids and you're a younger fella than I am, and I know you got a busy schedule, but I'll do what I can to accommodate that. But I want to get over and shoot with you. And thank you for being here this evening. I appreciate you, and I really appreciate your heart for the Lord as we had evidence tonight. So, what are you working on this week? You got anything coming up, video wise or whatever?
I do. I've got some plans for videos. Some of those will have to be put on the back burner. I fly to DC for work on Sunday, and I'll fly back home on Thursday the 6th. And then as soon as I get home, I'll unpack my work stuff, load up my hunting stuff, and then I'll start driving to Texas. So plan on being in Texas. It'll be East Texas, Friday and Saturday. All day Friday, all day Saturday is the plan. And then I'll get up early Sunday morning and start my drive over to Atlanta, Georgia. Actually, I've got to go pick up my wife and my stepdaughter. They're flying back from Europe on Sunday, so I got to go pick them up in Atlanta. So I got a pretty busy week ahead of me. Reloading wise, though, I just picked up a 7 rim mag from an associate pastor at church. He's a friend of mine, and we were texting back and forth about scope options and stuff, and he was struggling to find one, and so I was like, hey, I'll just work up a load for you, and I'll put a scope on there, and I'll kind of get it set up for you, and then let him see what he thinks about it. So I actually picked that up last night, and I've just started that project. So hopefully we'll have some hunting videos and some 7 rim mag stuff coming up soon. So
awesome. What you hunting in Texas? Hogs?
yeah, it'll be hogs and coyotes. It's a guy that I work with. He has a ranch out there that his son-in-law manages, and he's asked me a couple of times in passing. He's like, hey, you really need to come out to the ranch. You need to come out and hunt some hogs. Come out and hunt some hogs. Well, I'm the type of person that if you don't want me to be there, you better not extend the invitation, because I will take you up on it, and I will say, sounds good. And here's when I'm free. Let's go hunt, right? So I kind of cornered him, and I was like, "Hey, remember that invitation?" I like I said, just like the stream tonight, I was like, "I got a little bit of time coming up, June 7th and 8th, so let's make it happen." So it worked out, and so I'm going to head over there and just shoot whatever he tells me I can shoot, basically.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What are you going to shoot hogs with? What cartridge?
So right
You
now,
use a pocket knife.
Yeah, I posted a video about that earlier this evening. I've got a really good load worked up in my. It's a Thompson Center Icon bolt action in 30 TC. I'm probably going to take that, and then possibly my 270 Winchester or a 25-06. It's a friend of mine's rifle that I'm working on for him, but he's already given me the okay to take it. So might end up just taking everything I got, and then it'll be a game time decision.
Well, all I'll say to that is 270 Winchester is the finest cartridge in the history of the world.
I would agree with you on that. That's a really, really good round.
It is. If you don't believe me, ask Walks Fletcher. What you got coming up, CW?
Well, I've got a couple more range videos. I got some benchtop reloading videos. Trying to think. I got this chassis. The video is going to be coming up on that. I've done a couple more rimfire challenges. I got some more different 22s coming in. Ammo to test and try. So there'll be more videos on that, and just all around good times. If we can do some better fishing in some areas where I can get some video, I'll have video on that. But we did really good last weekend. We caught a pile, but we were in an area that was high current, a lot of boats, really fast drifts. And it just didn't lend itself to standing there with the phone in your hand when you're in 300 feet of water. because for sure it would go out of your hand into the water. So I didn't even take pictures of the fish. I got one picture of one fish on the last one that we caught before we headed out of there to calmer water. But that's where the fish are early in the season. It's a reef about 10 miles offshore where basically it's 300, 325 feet of water coming into about 80 feet, dropping back off to about 150 feet. And that shelf there creates a couple of acres of just washer machine, and small fish coming through, bait fish and such, get caught in that current and they can't really get out of it. So the big fish come in there and just feast. And we've seen everything there, from literal U.S. submarines to whales to sharks to everything. And you never know what you're going to catch, especially at the end of the season, September, and so because the water from the Atlantic comes in there, and they've caught crazy things. Somebody caught a white marlin there, which is not something from this area. Last year, I got into a big tuna that shouldn't have been there when we were fishing. Was about 60 pounds, as near as we could figure. We didn't get it in the boat. It was right alongside the boat, and it popped the line. But we had virtual hands on it right beside the boat. So just a good time. And if I can get video, I certainly will. I've made a couple of videos in the past on the fishing trips, and it's just beautiful water, beautiful landscape. The water. So I'll try and do that. Try and get something like that up on the channel this year. But it's all how the weather is, how the conditions are. But yeah, it's a great time. Glad we finally got Wes on the channel. It was great to see him. Awesome everything. Side chat was really good. There's Meg. Just thanks everybody for stopping by. We really appreciate it. We're driven by you guys. Our topic didn't go great with the side chat, I don't think, tonight, but it was a good chat just the same. We kind of breezed through it pretty quick, so everything was good. Glad to see everybody as always, and hope everybody has a great and healthy, calm, exciting weekend.
CW, we appreciate you more than you'll ever know, brother. And I just want to tell all you people, he's doing great work over on his channel. He's doing a video or maybe sometimes two a day. Great stuff. And he's doing more videos than I can watch. And I watch at least one CW video every day, or at least try to. With that being said, I think we're done. Our topic idea for next week, and y'all let us know what you think. We want to kind of, for our topic, we want to kind of, and hopefully Gene will be back and have What's Hot Pot's Got back again next week. But we want to start trying to go through the different disciplines of competition shooting. And the reason being not for somebody to be bragging about what they do or this, that, and the other, but kind of nudging everybody toward getting out and meeting new people and trying new stuff and having fun with your firearms. And I know I'm too old to ever be competitive at cowboy action shooting, but that's what I'm going to try to do because I've already met some great folks. And I think all of y'all would benefit too by something like that. And if y'all support that idea, let us know in the comments. And I reckon we'll get off of here and I don't know what you're going to do now. Gizzard Gary ain't coming on. So we love y'all, and there ain't nothing you can do about it. We hope the Lord. Go ahead.
I would like to also shout out though at see, I believe midnight Central Time. Gear Websites does have his weekly 2A wrap up. So he talks a lot about what's happened this week with the 2A community and stuff. So if you're still
Gun
up at that
website,
time, check out Gun Website.
All right. You got something, Scotsman?
Nope. I think we're good, man. Take us out of here.
All right. We love you, and ain't nothing you can do about it. We hope the Lord blesses you all real good. And if He's willing, we'll see you next Friday night at 8 o'clock. Say good night, y'all.
God
Good night,
bless.
y'all.